Jim, this, our final question from listeners this week, sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Joe Musolf in Minneapolis.
I think it's Musolf.
Okay, I will bow to you on this. Would the landscape of pro wrestling be different if Vern Gagne took Vince Jr.'s offer and sold the AWA?
Well, that is interesting. But what year was that offer made?
The offer was made in the summer of 1983.
That's why it was in the summer of 83, right before, because then Vince saw Hogan in Japan right after that, right? Personally.
He went over after that, and of course, they already knew Hogan a little bit, but...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like they had met for the first time.
But on the back of Hogan, you bring up Hogan and you talk about Japan, the AWA, at this point when Vince went to see them, Vince's business was on fire, but the AWA was having their record year. They were in the middle of the biggest year of their company.
And that's what I'm saying. Vince's thought was, well, will Vern sell to me, and then I'd have everything. But when he didn't sell... Then Vince said, well, there may be more than one way to do this because the AWA was on fire, and that was the first year of Hulkamania. Vince didn't create that phenomenon. Hulk Hogan was drawing huge crowds for the couple years before that, coming off of Rocky III and blah, blah, blah. So what else? But Vince ended up with pretty much everything there was of interest in the AWA eventually. Hulk Hogan, Gene Okerlund, fucking David Schultz, et cetera, et cetera.
Ken Resnick.
But I was about to say Resnick. Patera ended up there. You know, so would it have made any appreciable difference if he'd have bought the AWA? Would it have made any appreciable difference in the WWF's business if he'd have bought the AWA in the summer of 83? Or would it have just deprived the folks in the Midwest of their major league home territory that they had for another 3 years at that point before things really just 4 years at that point before things just went to complete shit? I don't think it would have done anything better for Vince because he got what he wanted anyway in the long run. The ability to run those towns, TV and all those markets, Hulk Hogan and the other talent. I think it would have probably, because he wouldn't have run the AWA as a separate entity, so it would have just robbed all the people in Minnesota and Chicago and Colorado and the Midwest and all of the last 4 years of their own territory.
It is interesting because we got to see who he took, and not everyone who he wanted always went. I mean, Jerry Blackwell backed out of the first TV taping in 1984. Yeah. But if he had purchased the AWA, it would have been something to see what he did with, like, Greg Gagne. Does he keep Jim Brunzell and Greg Gagne together because they have a history in the Midwest? You know, things like that would have been it. Jerry Blackwell would have been incorporated.
At that point, he would have kept Brunzell because Brunzell, you know, was athletic and had a physique. He would have either tried to get Greg in the office or he would have bid Greg adieu because I don't see, especially back then and with the other people on the roster, I don't see Vince. You know, I mean, Greg now, if you look at it with today's eyes, he was 6'2", 6'3", and weighed 200 pounds. He'd look like Andre next to the guys today. But back then, no, Vince would have never pushed anybody hit Greg's size to any appreciable level.
If Vince Jr. does buy the AWA or put together the deal in the summer of 83 and Vern goes along with it, do you put the AWA belt on Hogan and build towards the AWA champion beating the WWF champion? Or do you have Hogan go over either the Iron Sheik in January or another heel like Koloff or the Masked Superstar between that point in January and then wrestle Nick Bockwinkel, the AWA champion? What would you do?
Well, what I would do would be different than what Vince would. Do you think that Vince, if he had bought the company, would actually operate it as another entity and have some kind of rivalry with his WWF roster? Is that where you're going?
That's not where I'm going, but I do think that if Vince bought the company, he wouldn't just have the AWA World Championship. At that time, he wouldn't have just had the World Championship go away. He wanted Harley Race, so Harley Race would lose to his world champion.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. He would have wanted the AWA champion to lose to his world champion, and then that's the end of the AWA. My question is, how does he get to that
I
point?
think the end of the AWA would have happened beforehand. I think if he'd have bought the AWA, there would have been a drop-dead date where they had produced their last television program.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm talking about in terms of facing the public.
Well, no, listen to me. Listen to facing the public. I'm saying within a few weeks after the ink was dry on that contract, Vince would pop up. The WWF television program would pop up in front of the people everywhere on every station that the AWA television program had been airing on. And Vince would do the same thing he did when he went on TV in Georgia. Same thing he did when he went on TV in the last Monday Nitro. Whenever he's done that, folks, you're going to see the best wrestling in the world. And guess what? The AWA champion Hulk Hogan is going to face the fucking WWF champion, and we're going to have a unification or whatever. Well, Hogan wasn't the champion then. So I think what he would have done.
That's why I was saying that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why I think what he would have done was whoever the AWA champion was that summer of '83, was it Bockwinkel?
It was Bockwinkel.
He would have had Bockwinkel do a job to whoever his champion was at that time, which was still Backlund.
That's right.
Because Bockwinkel was a heel, Backlund was a babyface. That would have worked. And then he would have done the same thing he was going to do, because he wouldn't have put the belt on Hogan off of Backlund, because that would be a babyface beating a babyface. But there's no way that would have been a long-running issue. It would have been, I'm buying this company. Within the next few weeks, my TV will replace the AWA TV everywhere. And I'm going to have Bockwinkel doing interviews where he talks about this big upcoming Super Bowl unification match with Bob Backlund, and Bob Backlund's going to win it. And that would have been the end of that. Because Vince McMahon had WrestleMania and expansion in his mind. He wanted the TV markets. He wanted the contracts with the big buildings in Chicago and Minnesota and all the ones that Vern had. He wanted competition in those areas out of the way, and he wanted to add all of the stars that he wanted to keep from Vern's company. And if he'd have bought the thing, and all those guys would have been available, obviously, to continue to work for Vince, so he could just fire the ones he didn't want, and he's already got the ones that he did want. And there were no contracts back in those days, so he could give guys 2 weeks notice. There you go. You're done. Hey, Hogan, come here. I got something for you. And that would have been the end of it. There was no contracts to fucking mess with, and no deals made with the boys that would have stood up anywhere.
Another interesting thing to look at would be, how would this have changed the trajectory of the Road Warriors? Because if they don't have the AWA to go to after they leave Georgia, and again, they went to the AWA after Hogan left.
Yeah.
It would have changed a lot of things for them, I would think, too. Because they really became the Road Warriors in the AWA.
Yeah, they were already hot on Georgia TV. I mean, just almost instantly, just because of the newness and freshness of it, and they were smashing everybody. But it wasn't until they went to work for Vern, and Paul Ellering was from Minnesota, and he knew the dream, even though he was with them in Georgia. Now he's home. He's the experienced veteran. They've got a promotion up there that's really behind them, where they only have to work Vern's schedule. Instead of in Georgia where they were working 6-7 nights a week, they can back up a little bit. They 15-18 days a month, and they can start learning. And they're working, instead of just smashing job guys on TV, they're in the houses with big time experienced pros. And so that's where they really got their shit together. If there was no place, and they replaced Hogan as the big draw for a while there for Vern. If that didn't exist, they would have probably gone to the Carolinas, maybe from Georgia, but they had so much more talent and used so many more guys on their cards. Would they have had the time they had in the AWA to really get their shit together? Very interesting.